have a full season. I need to have a chance to go for a championship and see what I'm capable of, see what kind of development I can make over the course of a season. And he went to the MDK guys, he went to Will Bamber, who runs this team. I don't have the budget, but I will find a way. And that win, those 2 wins in Miami, raised so much awareness of what he's doing back home in the Dominican Republic. A lot more backing is coming in play from the Dominican, and as a consequence, he's been able to put together a full season with now that championship, which is going to be huge for him in his career moving forward. But there's no guarantee he's got a win in the bag here. His teammate, Zach Vanier, has designs on taking it away, and he's looked like the faster of the 2 over the last couple of laps.
He absolutely does. He's sitting there. Vanier is in Mark Kwami's car. Didn't realize that. I knew the color scheme and everything was similar to what Kwami's been using all year, but he got to the podium yesterday, and he says, I'd like to thank Mark Kwami for letting me use his car. I said, well, that certainly makes sense, and for a young man that hasn't been in that car, new to racing in this class and in this series, Vanier, very, very impressive in that vehicle. And I tell you, I'm sure Mark Kwami is quite happy with the decision he made to give him that seat.
Had a huge day yesterday, standing up on the podium. And it was funny, Zach, when he finished his interview with you, he said, all right, got to go do some homework now. Tells you everything you need to know about the age of some of these drivers. And pulling double duty this weekend. Has to stay up on the schoolwork as well as focusing on the task at hand, which is running at the front of one of the most competitive single-race series on the continent.
And the fun thing is, you and I touched, Ryan, a little bit on Mark Kwami and his step from being just a competitor to then being a team owner, and the differences that there are and how intricate it is to be in those 2 positions. And it gets to the point where, you know, if anyone wants to be in the race car, it's Mark Kwami. He loves racing. He's so talented in sports car racing and off-road. He's done it all. He's won a lot of races all over the world in some of the most competitive forms of motorsport. But for him to say, okay, well, you know what? We're going to COTA. It's a fun track. It's a challenging track. I sure would like to drive, but I am a team owner. Let's put the young Vanier in there and see what he's got, and it's paid off.
Yeah, he's been super impressive, no question about that. And, you know, these 2, they are teammates, but they hadn't raced against one another until yesterday.
Right.
So they're still learning each other's tendencies, and you better believe they'll play nice with one another, but the competition will be fierce too. And spicing things up, this, by the way, is the lead in the 991 class with Llibre leading Vanier right now, but behind them, 2nd and 3rd in 992, Jeff Mosing and Chris Belamo, they're right there in the mix having their own scrap, which is very likely to get mixed up with the 991 guys here very soon.
Yeah, absolutely it will. And I've been so impressed with how well the 991s and the 992s do compete with one another. There are certain tracks that'll play a little bit more to one car versus the other. And you got up a break point earlier on as far as the traction control and stuff early on in the race, and the tires are a little cold. But to watch these cars, the 991s and 992s, racing intertwined and really be super competitive with one another, even though technically speaking they are in 2 different classes, but racers are racers. Once the helmet goes on, they don't look at it that way.
That's right. And for the 991 guys to be running this competitively, especially at a track that needs some horsepower like here at COTA, that shows just how well Jimmy and Zach are driving right now. Their 991 spec car makes about 485 brake horsepower at 8,500 RPM. Compare that to 510 brake horsepower in the newer 992, which has the traction control. It has a little bit more sophisticated ABS as well compared to the previous generation, and they are keeping pace with everyone not named Sebastian Carrazzo, despite the fact that they are at a disadvantage being in effectively the lower class.
And here we are on board with Sebastian Carrazzo, the champ in our 992s, the 2022 Porsche Sprint Challenge North America, brought to you by Yokohama Champion, the fastest man on 4 wheels in this series right now, and he is on board just cruising along, having himself a great ride, very relaxed before he got in the car, and as I've mentioned in the past, very relaxed in the car as well. You don't see any extra movements out of him. Everything he does is very calculated, and he knows how to manipulate a race car to get the most out of it and make it do what he wants it to do, and that's not a simple task. Granted, these purpose-built Porsche race cars are absolutely amazing to drive around these tracks, but when you're pushing them to the limits that Sebastian Carrazzo does, it's very impressive to be able to manipulate a machine like that.
Well, these cars are challenging to drive quickly, and that's by design. When Porsche started conceiving of their pyramid, they wanted a car that would challenge drivers. It would bring the best to the fore. You want the cream to rise to the top, especially when Porsche uses their pyramid. Nice battle here. It's Mosing dropping a spot to Belamo. But they use this pyramid to identify talent that they can bring into their factory roster. So you want a car that's going to be challenging, that's going to identify those that are exceptional talents. And it's been a remarkable success story.
It absolutely has. And remarkable success story this year for 2022 has been Belamo here. Chris Belamo's been very, very good. He's raced every round this year of the North America Series and the USA West. So it's been quite impressive to see him at all of the different rounds, and he has been an absolute joy to watch. Belamo being very impressive. Yesterday he had a problem with his fuel suit. It was a little hotter than this today, but it was a little later yesterday. But outside of the car, it was upwards saying that we were around 102 degrees or so inside the car, and I'm guesstimating right now we had been looking upwards of over 140 degrees without a doubt. And Belamo there with no fuel suit or anything wasn't able to come to the podium, even though it was well deserved. So hopefully everything's going a little bit better for him right now because he was cooking like an egg yesterday.
Yeah, sounds that way. Darren Law, who runs the Flying Lizard team, he had to stand in. Darren, of course, is a driver of his own right. Sure. A great asset to the Flying Lizard organization. He can do it all, basically. Behind the desk, managing the team, also working with the drivers because he's been there, he's done that in his own racing career. So Darren had a big smile on his face when he got there to accept the trophy. Probably the least amount of work he's ever had to do in his career to take home the trophy.
Absolutely. So you see a great battle right now still with Mosing. Mosing maybe making a little bit of a mistake right there. Belamo was able to capitalize that number 68 and move on forward here. But Mosing's like, okay, yeah, that was just a mistake. I'm just as fast as you, if not faster. I've got what it takes. It's my track. I messed up. I know it. But he's not going to let Belamo go. Then he let the two of them work together and push themselves up into a fight with the MDK team.
These are two veterans of Porsche racing. Before they raced in non-single day championships, SRO and IMSA over the years, and putting all of that experience to the test right here, going toe-to-toe. I suspect this is not the first time they found one another on the racetrack, and maybe old sparring partners here who smile on their face over the helmet. I have to believe with the chance to have a great fight like this in the final race of the season.
All right, we are down just inside 20 minutes left to go in this 35-minute plus 1 lap race. This is the last and final race of the year. 14 rounds, 13 in the record books. I should say 13 and a half almost in the record books here. And they are battling out, if you've just joined us now, here at COTA, Circuit of the Americas, on this amazing and challenging 3.41 mile, 20 turn road course here in Austin, Texas. And with a little over half a race left to go in this sprint challenge race. We see out in front Sebastian Carrazzo, kind of in a class of his own right now. Yesterday crowned the champion in the 992 class. He is the #1 guy out here on the track right now. Right behind him is the champion in the 991 class, Jimmy Llibre as well. Zach Vanier right behind him in the number 437, driving car for Mark Kwame as well. Chris Belamo, he's in P2 by class in the 992s, and 4th overall, Jeff Mosing behind him in the 992s. David Williams, that's also in the 992s. Then we get into the 991s with Laura Eli, Caden Kelly, and Paul Nemchoff, and that's the story right there.
Exactly. So Laura Eli comes in with that 4-point lead in the championship for USA West in the 991 division, and she's doing what she needs to do, running ahead of her closest rival, Paul Nemchoff, and actually the car in between right now, Caden Kelly's 8th overall. And talking to Laura yesterday at kind of the end-of-season party that the staff held for the drivers and teams last night, she said it's pretty simple. I know exactly what I need to do. I just need to run ahead of Paul or right on his tail. And if I can do that, I know I've wrapped up this championship.
Yeah, she's doing exactly what she needs to do improve right now. She's got herself a bit of a buffer. And, you know, the thing is, Paul Nemtsov, he broke it down a little bit yesterday, saying he kind of looked at the season as almost like 3 different races. Early on, you know, he was a little bit faster at times, and she was a little faster. They both have had some bad luck at certain times. And now this is ultimately, you know, today is ultimately the final chapter. Is kind of what's going on here. So, but he knows it depends on, you know, the final chapter. Someone's going to close the book quicker than the other one. And right now, if things stay the way they are, it is going to be Lord Eli.
And you know, the first to congratulate her, I suspect, will be Paul. Like,
certainly.
the two of them just have the utmost respect for one another. We've mentioned it several times. In years prior to even coming to this series, they've raced against one another, and more often than not, they are racing for a title, racing for a win, racing for a podium with one another. So the respect goes back many, many years at this point. And I think that we just thrilled to see a nice clean ending to the season. I'm sure he wants to win the title, of course, but, the mutual respect is there.
Absolutely it is. We still got a great shot right now. It really kind of shows you the speed right there. They're upwards over 100 miles an hour entering into these S's, which I think the S's is beginning of turn 3 right there. As Belamo and Mosing looking quite comfortable right now. Belamo giving a little bit of a gap in between him and Mosing, but they definitely have sections. And as you can see, different lines as well as Belamo opts for the Go-Go Gadget smoke screen there with the dust. And a little bit faster. We've seen a lot of competitors in that area. Personally, I would think, you know, right now, obviously your tires are quite warm, very gummy. Every time you dip into the dirt right there, I can't imagine that's really the hot setup, but yet we've seen so many extremely fast competitors doing it. Who am I to say?
I'm with you. It doesn't seem like that would be the ideal way through, but that said, the quick win cars are really cutting that apex of the line. And it's a real option to do it necessary. And that seems to be the fast way. Back on board here. Teammate G-Ray, wow, you can see with the hand movement there. That was a sketchy moment on corner exit. Great
yes,
save.
It was. That was impressive. As soon as he hopped on board right there, and it happened just a little bit there. Again, he's just right now, he's got to calm down a little bit. That was as you said, Ryan, it was a sketchy save. But I think right now he's just like, okay. I mean, and it gave a little bit more of a gap in between he and his teammate now up in front with Jimmy G-Ray right there. And he's just had like, all right, that's over. That's done. Let's not do that again. And just keep on digging, keep your head down, and keep on moving forward right there. But a great save right there, because that could have been very ugly very quickly.
Visually, what just a little mistake like that will do. G-Bray kept it clean, and you could see how much of a gap he's been able to pull as a consequence. So now Vandy is going to have to settle back in, get comfortable, maybe bring the tire temps down a little bit if he's going to mount another charge. G-Bray, though, he's doing exactly what he needs to do with less than 15 minutes remaining, very much in position to back up yet another race win.
So, not great news right now as we're hearing from race control here in turn 15, which is the same turn we just saw Van Day have a little bit of trouble in. We had another car spun right there. That car was able to get underway under its own power, but that car was the number 41. We know who that is. That's Paul Nemtsov. So as Lord Eli gains a little bit more of a cushion right now. Nemtsov, we don't know exactly what happened there. If he did it all on his own, if he had a little bit of help, or possibly maybe there's something on that track. So we're getting, I think he said 8-0 is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's Caden Kelly. That crew was running right there around Nemtsov.
Yeah.
And Caden is about to have to serve a drive-through penalty according to race control. So there's always the risk when you don't see it if we're putting two and two together and getting 5 and not 4. But my supposition here is that the drive-through is for contact that might have had something to do with the spin there for Paul. And that's costly for both drivers, obviously. The drive-through is going to be killer for Caden Kelly, who was having a great run up to that point. And Nemtsov has dropped a number of positions now and finds himself really in a dire set of circumstances with the championship in mind.
Absolutely. The thing is, with Caden Kelly, with the Throttle Therapy Motorsports team out of Meadow Vista, California, a great group of people over there. They love to have fun. They're very serious about what they're doing. And looks like we're going to go into a full course yellow right now. They're asking Sebastian Carrazzo, the 27, to back it down to safety car speed. So he's going to control the path right now. But the thing is, in the driver's meeting, it said, if you're not in the championship chase, no one's asking you not to race. No one would ever ask you not to race. But they would ask you to keep in mind the people that are racing for a championship. Now, I'm not saying anything bad or anything good or bad for that matter about the Cade Kelly incident there with the 880 and the 41. But Cade Kelly being a good guy, people from Throttle Therapy being great people, I bet right now they're saying, man, we involved ourselves in.
And that is Dimshaw stuck in the gravel. That's why we just went full course yellow. So it was a sizable incident, at least from the implications of the incident. Basically cements the championship for Laura, who was already doing what she needed to do to clinch it. But with Paul stuck there, he's going to drop a lap, I suspect, just needing to get extricated. That'll drop him well down the order and out of contention for the title. This full course yellow also wipes away a nearly 10-second advantage that Carrazzo had over the second-placed overall driver, Timmy Llibre. It takes away a 1.3-second advantage from the 991 lead that Llibre had over Vanier, and it gives everyone a chance to cool those Yokohamas down for one last dash to the checkers.
Well, you know, the thing is, there's so much going on right now. It just, I feel horrible, really, and honestly, for both Nemshoff and Caden Kelly.
Yep.
We don't know exactly how that happened, but if Caden Kelly got a drive-through penalty, if you were to point fingers, and I don't want to do it, it might go in that direction. You know he feels horrible about that.
Nobody likes that.
Nemshoff is probably just full-on angry right now. And, you know, oddly enough, getting to know Laura Eli throughout the season, she's coming around right now, going to see Nemshoff park over there in the Marbles. And I bet you at one time she's a hint of being relaxed, but at the same time, she's going to be bummed out too because she wants Paul and her to have a good, honest race to the finish. And that's the type of driver that Laura is. So, yeah, a little bit relaxing seeing that. Of course, how could it not be? You wouldn't be human otherwise. But at the same time, being the competitor that she is, she's probably like, oh, man, this is a bump and golf. You know, if she had a toe lift, she'd probably hook the ball and pull him out.
I think you're right. It's the common thread in that conversation how much they celebrate with one another, how excited they were when it's coming down to the final couple races of the season between the pair of them, and how eager they were to race it out amongst themselves. And that's not the way this is going to end, but to your point, I'm sure there are still the championship world couldn't get it, but this is not the way that I would envision it coming to end.
Right, absolutely. On board under a full course caution right now with your 2022 champion, Sebastian Carrazzo, in that number 27 car, and for upwards of a 10-second gap over him in second place being the Silver class, and very impressive. So Carrazzo is just really even more right now today in her last final round than he has before, just really in a class of his own. I think he's now saying, he's just a little more relaxed. For him to be just getting in the car just before this race started and still have the time to joke around with me and mess around, that's not normally how these guys are. It's time to get in the car. Maybe if they give you good luck and maybe you get a little smile or smirk back or something, but it's all business. It's go time. And for him to just be having fun with it, I tell you, he's having a blast right now.
So, quickly a note, the Inshops car has been recovered from the gravel, so I suspect we'll be going back to green the next time by. Right now, just over 9 minutes to go, plus one lap in this race. But back to your point about Carrazzo, that's great to hear that he was so loose prior to the race. Now he's driving that way, which is certainly not sort of an easy by any stretch of the imagination. But this could be a star in the making. This is a name that we want to file away.
Oh, yeah.
He's been tabbed by IMSA as part of their one of
to say right there is it takes a special person, a special talent to be able to push the car the way he does. And Sebastian Carrazzo is just so calm, just so cool. Similar to what we've seen past champions last year, the first year of this series. Just like with Grant Talkie, very mellow in the cab of the car. Michael McCarthy, your platinum champion for 2021, a young kid the same way. You didn't see him making any additional movement in the car than what was necessary. If it wasn't needed, it didn't happen. And we see that with Sebastian Carrazzo as well.
Firmly in control at all times, but he's been able to hit it full. Llibre on the initial start gave him a bit of a challenge up into one. The lights are off on the safety car, so we're about to go green here with 7 minutes to go, and Llibre really is thinking about his 991 class, but if he can snag the overall win, he's taking it in a heartbeat.
Oh, absolutely would. And right now it's also exciting too is Laura Eli is looking at another possible podium, not just in first place in USA West, but also a possible podium in the third place in North America as well. And she had said yesterday with her third place, how happy she was that she doesn't really run that far up in the order in the North American Series. She may do it 2 days in a row here. She's looking very good. Absolutely, that's huge for her. I would say, Bob Black Sheep, how many podiums do you have? And it's been an awful lot for them this year with Laura being at the helm of that. Sebastian Carrazzo up and going one more time. Starting to get a little bit of a jump. Jimmy Llibre, if anyone can give him any pressure, it's going to be Llibre. I'm curious what would happen, and I don't know. I don't think we have enough race to see it, but if we were to get Chris Palamo around Van Yang, well, we've got cars off here definitely going into another caution. There's 99 of Scott McDanis. He's involved in his color scheme from blue and white to red and white. And another car, I don't know exactly who it was, they cut some numbers off in the marbles as well. We're still under green right now, but that's going to change. One car that was off in the driver's stripe. And yeah, we got some cleanup to do. Looks like we may have sort of initially some clearance right there from Scott McDanis' car. And we got another car parked off to the side there. I think, I couldn't tell exactly what it is. And there is Michael Levitas, the 36, as well. Michael Levitas enjoying our big year-end celebration last night as he was in the dunk tank and having an absolute blast. A bunch of these guys having fun with one another. We have some of our top brass from Porsche in there as well. John Macy, who we're hearing in race control, he's in there as well. How I didn't get nominated, I don't know, but I was happy to walk away. Nice drive.
Nice and dry, and also with a brand new belt buckle.
Brand new belt buckle, baby. Right now, mechanical pull out. Could I walk when I woke up this morning? Not very well. Could I bend over and tie my own shoes? No, sir. But I got myself a championship belt buckle. That's all.
That was a fun party last night. Less fun right now. Like the Inchop has had problems. Essentially left some damage on that car. This is not the end of the season that we originally coming off from Texas.
Oh boy, he's gonna have a DNF if he even makes it back into pit lane right now with that tire rubbing on the fender wall right there. As we are now 4 minutes and 8 seconds left to go. You see that smoking there, that's coming off his left rear.
4 minutes to go. This is our last one. Right around 2 minutes. So we're not really looking at a likely restart based on the time remaining and a lot of cleanup that is yet to do to even be able to contemplate getting back to green, which would be an anticlimactic end to the championship and a real shame based on how competitive it's been all season long. But you can't fault Carrazzo and Llibre. I mean, they are very deserving race winners.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the way you put that. They're where they are for a reason. They should be carrying that number one place right now. Very well deserved. Both those competitors putting everything they have on and off the track into this program. We talk about Carrazzo and he and his family and friends living in a motorhome and weekend to the races, on, and you brought up the initial point of it yesterday with, hey, I don't have the money, but I'm going to find it. And he found it by performing, by putting his heart and soul into this effort and to making it happen. And in return, he was able to sign that money. So Llibre, he's a little jokester. I love him. He's a riot. But as much as he likes to joke around, he is dead serious about his career racing. And so those two guys, they are in the hunt day in and day out, whether they're behind the wheel or not. And it shows, and it is well deserved for both those competitors to be a champion as well.
Every single weekend since March. He was over there yesterday, traveling around in the RV. They showed the track in their RV, the whole family does, and their RV driver, Darren, who has not been to his own house since April because he's been traveling the country looking for the racing efforts with his family and everything there. They're loving every bit of it. It's a team racing in lifelong dream to get to this level, to win a championship, and run this 3-4 times. And Darren's been experienced. There's a lot of growth still in his future. Really excited to see what the future holds for him.
Absolutely. We are now inside of 90 seconds left to go in this race here. It's 35 minutes plus 1 lap. And it's looking like, I believe it was Brett Chambers is the other car that was off in the exit of turn number 1. Also an Austinite. And the WTW racing team. And so I was actually thinking about this at the hotel last night, just because, you know, we've got different competitors. Alan Metton being one of them. Home track, running so well yesterday, then having DNF do a little mechanical, not coming back out today. Then we got Mosey, you know, also his home track, running quite well, but not winning at his home track. And then now also we've got Brett Chambers, also his home track in Austin, Texas. And now he's having trouble. And I was thinking that, I was like, you know, growing up racing, there was a good handful of big races that would come to like my home track, thinking, and I was only thinking, well, there's nothing else to do with down and sometimes I'd end up, you know, packing it up early. Sometimes I left in the ambulance. Sometimes never knew what was going to happen. And I got to think about it, like, you know, it doesn't matter if it's your home track or if you're on the other side of the world. In motorsports, anything can happen. And it just goes to show 3 of our home track guys right here all have some struggles.
Yeah, that's the support. I'm sure they got family and friends out here to support them. They like Brian Swan and Dawn. And they had high hopes of performing now and then. You know, yesterday he was out in front, dominating this race.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's got some kind of mechanical issue. Not only puts it out yesterday, but he didn't get a chance to run here today. So that's a huge heartbreak for one of the hometown guys. Yeah, not the way that they would have to do it up, but still there is something special about it.
Absolutely. The white flag is out. This is the last and final lap. So sadly, we are going to end the 2022 season under caution. But for those of you that have tuned in and watched any of the races throughout the year, nothing sad about this season at all. It has been action-packed all year long, from clean racing to the 991s on to the 992s. And the level of excitement has been absolutely through the roof. And it just gets better and better and better. I thought the 2021 season was amazing, and it was nothing compared to 2022, the action that we had seen at all of the different circuits we've been to. And then, of course, with the inception of the USA West coming in as well as kind of our, for lack of better terms, our sister series as well, that brought in so much more talent, like the Lord Eli and our Tom Nemcoff and a lot of different competitors. It's just made it so much fun. We've had some great racing right down to the very last weekend. I just couldn't ask for any more. Yep.
That's been a roaring success. Seeing what the 919 was together, and it's been great. You mentioned the USA West and bringing some drivers and spread out. Interesting concept too, the flex round.
Yeah.
East Coast races for the West Coast competitors to run, and it's a bunch of points. That's how they might have strategy. And the new point system. We talked about it a little bit, but let's step back and applaud what the group still in play coming into the penultimate race yesterday across both the Cup cars as well as the Juniors. And so what they found there has been great, really competitive stuff, and really into the wonderful season.
Well, you know, when it comes down to the last weekend of racing, 2 rounds left for both our GT3 Series and our Game Series, and you bring it down to the last weekend of it, and only 1 out of 6 champions of the round. You know, I mean, boy, I'm looking forward to 2023 and see just how close it's going to happen again, because it was just outrageous the way it all worked out right there. It consists of Mosey, one of the hometown guys here, and then put on a great run. But just absolute blast all the way down to the internet here, as we are now coming out about to take the last final checkered flag here for the sprint down to the
Everyone is talking with bated breath about what's coming next, right? Everyone is so optimistic about the future. This year, number 2, what does year 3 have in store? We'll find out in year 2, but the perfect call for
last night at our big year-end celebration. It was so great to have everyone there and talk about how big this is becoming. We are now the biggest sprint challenge in the world. That is very exciting. Also exciting here to Sebastian Carrabo. He's the 2022 champion. Around board with him right now as a checkered flag flies for him one last time, as he is a victor again here at Porsche Sprint Challenge Racing. And also winning in his respective class is the number 89 of Jimmy Llibre. Takes home another victory. Both of them finishing out the 2022 in an absolute bang. They are both champions. They are both victors one more time, and they did it here in Austin, Texas at Circuit of the Americas. And I also want to bring, this is not official, but this is the way it's going to go down. I'm feeling very confident. Lauren Eli, USA West champion. Well done, milady. Well done, as she is our champion as well. Laura Eli putting in an amazing run. She is your 991 USA West champion, along also with Chris Bolamo with the championship in the USA West 992 class. So they are all going to be crowned here in just a little bit as we get ready to head down to the podium. But it's got to feel good. 2 champions where they should be, finishing up front. What a way to put a cherry on top of this thing.
fantastic stuff. So it's been a great season all across the board. And it's a way to go off in the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be going down to our podium here in a little bit. But in the off-season, it's already seems to be long for me. I'm ready to go back racing again. I'm going to be back at Sebring right now, starting the whole thing over again. But make sure you check out Porsche Sprint Challenge North America and USA West on Instagram, on Facebook. Follow the YouTube channel as well. We'll be back again on Flow Racing, I would have to imagine, for 2023. But in the meantime, until we throw our next green flag, make sure you check out everywhere that we are going. And we have a lot of facilities we're going to. You can come and check it out in person, as we will be at some of the most impressive motorsports facilities around North America for 2023. So, as our leaders are getting ready to bring it around into the paddock area and over to the podium for Porsche Sprint Challenge North America and USA West, both brought to you by Yokohama Tires in USAC, United States Auto Club. It's Ryan Green, Brittany Kroll, I'm Sean Cerveny. It's been a pleasure all year long, folks. Looking forward to seeing you in Florida in 2023.
¿Sabes cómo siempre termino mi menú McDonald's? Así, con un McCafé con leche.